Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to the Universal Temple for the Sun, Planet, Moon, and Stars. I'll be your Lord of Hosts, Lord Messiah. And yeah, man, I'm back in the building, man. Yeah, you know what I mean? They shut me down for a little minute, you know what I'm saying? Based upon an error of my own. You know what I mean? I didn't research the title that I had for my book. So come to find out, there's article and I think a book written called uh, not Several Study Sciences of the Number Seven. That's mine. That's completely original. A picture's worth a million words. You know what I mean? Because that's the uh, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I said, well, a picture's worth a million words. You know what I'm saying? But I should have researched that because that's kind of common that somebody could have thought of that as a title. You know what I mean? So that was my fault by not researching that to see that that was actually a title already. So they may have they didn't ban my videos from being shown with that title, but I guess they prevented me from posting for a while due to whatever. They didn't say exactly why, you know what I mean? But I kind of came to the conclusion that okay, maybe that's what it was. The title that I chose, and then they go through their search engine or whatever, and probably have maybe videos on that or something, matches the title. So anyway, all in all, I'm still back though. You know what I mean? I'm back. As I see, they let me, saying it just started recording and all that. So I'm back in the building. So basically, I changed the title. You know what I mean? And it's going to be called Vision of Lord Masiah. Basically, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call it Vision of Lord Masiah. Lord Messiah's vision, something along those lines, you know what I'm saying? Basically, because, like as I do in the book, I go in and I, define what I see, I write what I see in the pictures, you know what I'm saying? And I define what I see, you know what I'm saying? So I just show you what it is that what I see in my vision and how I bring that forth, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, it was titled the way it was titled before. But there may have been some copyright infringement issues with that. So therefore, that's probably why they, had stopped my flow for a little minute. But I'm here to say, you know what I'm saying? Been going for a minute now. I'm back with the jump off. Guards in the building in case something jump off. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, we back. So what we gonna build on tonight? What we gonna build on tonight? Can I get a screen share? Can I get a screen share? Can I get a screen share? Let me see. I'll pull up the screen share on this joint. Yeah, because I'm aware that you are able to screen share. Oh, that's crazy. You know what? Actually, I think you might have to like set it up before you go in, like before you start it. I think maybe that's how you pull up a screen share or something. But yeah, that's whack though. Maybe I gotta go back and research it. But anyway, you know what I mean. I'm just here to let y'all know it's gonna be some more. It's gonna be more. Coming. It's gonna be more info coming. And I'm switching over more so to my to this channel here to the YouTube. I'm gonna just go harder on the YouTube. You know what I mean? I post my joints on the Facebook and all of that, but I'm gonna start posting on my other channel and just create a whole new content of followers. You know what I'm saying? Of so-called friends or whatever, and attract a whole new group of people because my target audience was obviously not receiving the information. So got to go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? You know how even in the scriptures say how, God shall take the covenant from one people and put it onto another people. You know what I'm saying? So I try to target a specific people. You know what I'm saying? Nobody clinged on. You know what I'm saying? People rather, join the Lord Messiah hater crew, the Lord Messiah hater club. and not add on and do something for themselves or their so-called nation. So, it is what it is, man. I ain't going to, go back harping on that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's going to talk that, oh, God, well, you got to go and do something first. And then when the people see you doing something, then they going to add on. Nigga, stop lying with that corny bullshit. Have y'all not seen half of the shit I've been doing? All of the stuff I've been presenting to y'all? Like, is that not enough for you to be like, damn, I want to add on to that? Like, what are you talking about, man? Somebody gonna tell me, somebody's like, oh, somebody told me, oh, man, this stuff is just on paper. And I'm like, okay, supreme mathematics is on paper too. But it don't become living mathematics until you make it walk and talk. So, of course, everything is on paper. You know what I mean? You got to take it off paper, put it into your mind, into your life, and start to activate on it. Then you'll see it become living. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's on paper. Oh, that stuff's on paper. Yeah, it's on paper because I know how to draw contracts. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how to make a contract? Everything is a contract. That's what you need to understand. People don't understand that. Everything is a contract. So if you don't know how to contract, then guess what, buddy? You're not going to be successful in your endeavors in life because you don't understand how to contract. So, but whatever, you know what I'm saying? To each his own. The reality, listen, I'm gonna just put it like this, straight up and down. The reality of what I know and see. You know how we say in our degrees, why does he fear the devil now that he is a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so being that we've been taught to eat the wrong foods, like fear fruit. You know what I'm saying? I just freestyled that right there. Fear fruit. Motherfuckers been eating fear fruit all their life. You know what I'm saying? You've been eating fear fruit. I don't eat from the fear tree. You know what I'm saying? I don't eat from the fear tree, from the tree of fear. You know what I'm saying? I eat from the tree of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? The tree of life, not the tree of fear, the tree of ignorance, the tree of laziness, the tree of procrastination, the tree of stagnation, the tree of excuse making, the tree of, well, I'll wait till you do it and maybe I'll do it too. The tree of, well, build it and they will come, meaning I'll come on some Johnny come lately shit. I don't eat from any of those trees. You know what I mean? I eat from the tree of productivity. I eat from the tree of self-creation, self-innovation, self-motivation, doing for self. That's the tree of fruit that I eat from. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Not staying stuck in the condition where we have to be workers for someone else. And that's not only just it. Because you can physically work for yourself. Like meaning like, okay, I physically go out, I do a job, I get paid. Cool. But now learn how to manage your finances. You know what I'm saying? A person could walk around, what you gonna save up $1 million and walk around with $1 million in your pocket? I don't think that would be wise. You know what I'm saying? I think you might want to set up a trust, turn that money into some kind of asset that you can place in your trust. Now your trust has value. Not placing Federal Reserve notes, which is intellectual property of the Federal Reserve Bank, into your trust, which is their property. You take that money, buy an asset, make sure it's fully paid off, then transfer the title, the deed, receipt, or whatever it is for that object, and then place it into your trust. Now it becomes an asset. So now you're no longer liable for being like having this paper money and being liable for that. You turned it into an asset, place it under your trust. Now it has security of your trust. And now it becomes an asset that your trust controls. But can't explain this stuff to people, man. They want to do things the old-fashioned way, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But not knowing the real old-fashioned way is what I'm telling you right now. This is what people was doing before and even after Monopoly. The game Monopoly came into existence in 1935, which is the same year they issued House Joint Resolution 192, which states that the United States government is responsible to pay the debts of the American people. See, people don't know about that. So they think that they're responsible to pay all their debts. No, the government is responsible to pay it. Why? Because they defrauded everyone of their gold. You learn about the 1933 gold seizure. You learn about the 1929 stock market crash, which led to the so-called Great Depression. You know what I'm saying? But when you really do the knowledge, like the brother O.T. Bay dropped on me, he dropped the jewel how, 1928, just in one year, 1928, Noble Drew Ali opened up the Moorish Science Temple of America and had all of those Moors nationalizing. And when they nationalized, guess what? Made the claim, they made the reversion of it. They claimed the reversion of a state, meaning all the property that was being exceeded by the state or by the government, they reverted it back to their estate through their trust and, so forth and things of that nature. So that's what everybody has to do for their individual selves. I tell people, as a man, you must have a will. Your will is the most important thing, or one of the most important things you can have as a man, because your will states your execution of law. So even when you're dead and gone, you're still going to be living from beyond the grave. You're going to have provisions to be executed even when you're not here. So that's how you that's how you establish your succession. And that's how you be successful through your successors. So in your will and in your trust, you're going to state who are the future successors. Okay, if your children are at the present point beneficiaries, when they become of age, legal age, and they're able to operate the trust themselves, they'll become successor executors and successor trustees of the trust, so that they could then now manage it and then pass it on to their children, and their children will be the beneficiaries, and then their children will be taught about trust law and how to rise up and to be successor executors and trustees. Peace to Jay in the building. Peace, God. You know what I'm saying? They will be successor trustees, and then they will carry on to teach their children how to be beneficiaries and rise to be successor executors and trustees, and so forth, and so on and so on and so on. And the cipher keeps spinning through the trust. So now, like I say, years down the line, generations down the line, you have generations of family wealth, generational wealth built up in your family. You understand what I'm saying? See, right now, I'm setting the stage. I'm like, for my family, I'm one of the first people to do this, if not the first. So I'm setting the stage. You know what I mean? And now, when my children come forth, they'll learn about it. They'll understand how to operate, and they'll continue it on, and their children will continue it on, and their children continue it on. And see, I'm going to have provisions set where you have, they have children. In fact, I'll have it where I'll set something where like they have to have children and teach them to a certain degree before they can even get certain assets from the trust. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, I'm gonna just pass on and everything is passed to you. No, you're gonna have some kind of provision, some kind of rules and regulations you're gonna have to establish before you just get that. Pardon me 1 second, y'all. I'll be right back. Yeah, so pardon me. So so that's the science, man. That's how you build, and like I say, keep wealth in the family and so forth. And that's the mission, man. That's the goal. I dropped the jewel too. I've been teaching people just recently, like the quick jewel on how to build credit. You know what I mean? Like for example, we always pay our bills. We pay our cell phone bill, you pay your light bill, your water bill, gas bill, car insurance, whatever, da, 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 da. Usually we're paying these things through cash, you know what I'm saying? Or, debit card, credit card, whatever, but we're paying it through more so with cash a lot of times. Now, if you were to set up and see, when you make those payments with cash, it's just like, okay, you paid, you got your service continued, and that was it. There's no credit being built from that. Maybe you're building up maybe some kind of length as a loyal customer with the company, but that's about it. You know what I'm saying? You're not building any, nothing is being reported to the credit bureaus when you pay your cell phone bill and you pay your light bill and all these other bills, because they're not set up or being paid through a business account. So I advise people to tax season is right here, right? About to get your taxes, right? So when you get your taxes, what you could do, this is not loaded. Let me give my disclaimer. This is not legal advice. None of this is legal advice. This is for educational, entertainment purposes only. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm telling them what they could do or what's possible to do. I'm not saying go and do this. I'm telling you go do this. If you choose to do whatever you want to do, you are a grown person. You can do what you choose to do. So that's reality. So anyway, so none of this is legal advice. You know what I mean? Let me just throw that out there. So taxes coming around right now, right? You can take like $1,000, $2,000 from your taxes, set up direct deposits to where they will pay these certain bills for the next however many months or whatever case may be, however much you put up to make the payments. And then that'll give you a kind of a head start. So when you continuing to work throughout the year, whatever, you have more money to where you can now put toward these bills after that money that you put aside runs out. You'll have more money built up to where you can keep on making those payments. So you set up, first you get a business account, set up like an LLC or something. You know what I'm saying? So this portion right here, you're gonna have to do technically no, because I also teach about a foreign LLC. You can establish what's called a foreign LLC, and you don't even have to use their forms. You can just basically take the general information that they have from their forms, make your own form in lieu of that, or your own writ in lieu of their form, and add some of your other stuff in there, like add some of your private information in there, add some of, and by private, I mean like stating the fact that you have like a private trust set up, you have a private will set up, and this LLC is scheduled under the trust of your, scheduled under the schedule of your trust, listed in the schedule of your trust as an asset. So therefore, now the LLC, which may be registered with the state, you know what I mean? And you got the license or whatever, but you registered that LLC under your trust. So now you're creating and then that trust is scheduled under your will. So now you create what's called, if I'm not saying the term correctly, maybe someone else knows it, or you can look it up in correct term, but I think it's called anonymity, where you're creating like layers of protection for your property and businesses. So for example, you can have an LLC that's under another LLC that's under another LLC. So now if some kind of creditor is trying to get to the first LLC, he got to go through the second, or trying to get to the first LLC, you got to go through the second and the third one that it's under, or signed under, or under agreement with. You know what I mean? So and then they can't pierce and being that it's held under trust, they can't pierce the veil of your trust. You know what I mean? But sometimes if you have public assets in your trust, they can pierce the veil of your trust, because they can say, well, that's a public asset. You can't, that's a public, liability. You can't place that as an asset under your trust. So for example, like the Social Security number, we can't necessarily claim the Social Security number as an asset, because that's a public entity that was given to you in the public by a public facility or agency. So, and you were only given permission to use it. You know what I mean? Because that's the number attached to the straw man that they use to regulate things. But the science is that you have to now gain control of the straw man, so that you can now show a different venue or a different jurisdiction of how that straw man is operating. Right now it's operating in the public, being controlled by the public trustees. So for example, like I always say, I give the example, and I broke this stuff down in many other videos. I'll just be reiterating the same information over and over and over again, but it's just for y'all to get this understanding. You know, if y'all be watching all my videos, then y'all will get this over and over and over again, because like, see, I've studied it. So this is why I can just keep repetitively, and I'm doing it. Like, I have my own will and trust and things of that nature. So this is why I can consistently speak on it and break it down, because this is something, it's a living trust, or something that I'm working on every day. I want to get to the point where, okay, I got enough established where I ain't got to go and tweak everything and and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? It's something that you're constantly working on, because you can revise things at any given time. You know what I mean? Even though I have an irrevocable trust, that doesn't mean that I can't go back and make certain changes. Like if I have another child in the future, or when I have another child in the future, then that child is going to be labeled as a beneficiary of the trust in the will. So now I have to go back and revise and put in that child's new name and label them as assign them as a beneficiary. So, you know what I mean? Then I'll be altering the document. So this is why, you do that in the private. Now, when you have to bring anything into the public, you don't have to give them your whole trust, because a lot of stuff in the trust may be private information. So you give them what's called a certificate of trust, which is basically like a summary of the trust, which basically labels who's the executor, the trustee, the beneficiaries, when it came, its date of effect, you know, you know, um, like basic stuff about the trust, what I'm saying, but not everything about it. You know what I mean? You might put in who's the executor, who's the successor trustee or successor beneficiaries, or whoever, whatever case may be. You can put, that type of basic stuff in there, but you don't have to put everything in there. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole, however many pages it is. So that's how you would address them, to basically let them know that there's a will in place, there's a trust in place, and that you're operating in your own capacity. You've now created a foreign capacity, and the government is not able to interfere in your foreign activities. You know what I mean? You have the ability to basically, do your own thing. And people, saying this is what I've been trying to say. People don't think that they have that ability. That's our problem. Like I said about, eating off that tree of fear. You know what I'm saying? We've been taught to eat off the tree of fear all our lives. Oh man, the white man ain't gonna let you do that. Man, if you try to do that, man, them people, they gonna do this and that. Peace to whoever else is in the building. I cannot pronounce that. Um, ANNHA, whatever. Peace to you in the building. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so like you basically have to take control. Oh, so now let me get to the point about the straw man. I've created a document, or rather I say a retitlement to a document known as the provision for trustee. You know how, and basically it's basically a power of attorney. But the word of, whenever you use the word of, that's incorporating something. The city of, the state of, such and such of is an incorporation. So I don't use the word of. Whenever you have the word of, change the word of to for. Especially like when you're titling your documents, like certificate for foreign ministry, certificate, declaration for nationality, not declaration of nationality, declaration for nationality. Certificate for beneficial ownership. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. For the word of, you change to for, because it's for this, not of this. Jesus said, I'm in the world, but I'm not of it. You know what I'm saying? So he's not of it because he's not incorporated into the world. And that's why Jesus was fighting against the Pharisees, who was in his father's house gambling and taxing the people and all of that shit. Jesus wasn't against that. Jesus was a 5%er, man, due to knowledge. He was fighting against the bloodsuckers, the Romans trying to tax everybody. You know what I'm saying? He was fighting against that. You know what I'm saying? To free the people from bondage, from economic freedom and shit, financial freedom and shit. Like that's what Jesus was doing. Freedom, justice, and equality. See what I'm saying? Because he wanted the people to have equality. So he was being the just, he was performing justice to bring about freedom. You know what I'm saying? So as you say in the power degree, Jesus' teachings was not Christianity. It was freedom, justice, and equality. You know what I mean? So Jesus was dealing with freedom, justice, and equality. You know what I mean? And that's the duty of the 5%. We teach freedom, justice, and equality to all human families of the planet Earth. So that's what it is. You know what I mean? So I only refer to Jesus a lot because, I have the name Messiah, and he was one of the quote unquote solar messiahs. You know what I mean? Even though we know this most present so-called Jesus character, especially the white Jesus character, was a made up fictitious character. You know what I mean? But we got to take it back to Heru, you know what I'm saying? Horus. We could take it back to Krishna of India. You know what I mean? And Christ is what Krishna is, saying you get Christ, Krishna, you know what I'm saying? And Christ is coming from the word ka rest. The word is ka rest. Ka means the spiritual body, and rest means to rise. So ka rest, or Christ, ka rest means the rising of the spiritual body. So when we resurrect spiritually, when we resurrect mentally, when we come back into the knowledge of ourselves and we detox our bodies and things of that nature, we will see the spirit, our spiritual body rise, meaning our vibration will rise, our field of energy, our biofield, and everything. When our mind is clear, our body is clear, we're cleansing ourselves, we're detoxifying from the chemicals and everything, we're fasting. And then when you eat breakfast in the morning, you break fast, so you eat, break fast, you break your fast in the morning, things of that nature. Then, and you're drinking your water and all that good stuff, you're trying to flush your system. Then you can think more clearly, and that rises your vibration. You understand what I'm saying? That rises your energy level. You know what I mean? The more water you drink, the more energetic you are. When you're drinking less water, you're less energetic because you're dehydrated. Your body needs water to travel through the capillaries of your cells and all that good stuff and give you oxygen. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, so drinking water is very important. And this is not usually the water that I drink here, Poland Spring. I don't really drink this anymore. I just got it because it was local, but usually I drink, of course, alkaline water, but spring water, and a specific brand I'll be drinking is you can find it like in the dollar store, the 99 cents, in the Family Dollar or something. The glacier water, whatever it says, like a geyser water, whatever, Geyser, geyser. That is some good water. As soon as you drink that water, you automatically feel refreshed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real spring water. It's not that distilled water. Distilled water is not good. You know what I'm saying? Because distilled water is like stripped of the minerals and everything in it. But if you're gonna use distilled water, if you take distilled water and add like lemon or a key lime to the water, it raises the alkalinity in the water. So basically, lemon and lime being at its high alkaline, it's good to put that in your water because that raises the alkalinity of the water. Water has a positive and a negative pH level, potential hydrogen level, and alkaline is in the negative. That's what we got to understand. Alkaline is in the negative. You remember in science class when we did the experiment between bases and acids, and you take the little the litmus test or whatever they call it. You take the little litmus stick and you put it in the thing, and you see what color it turns, and then you'll know whatever the chemical you stuck it in was an acid or a base. You know what I mean? So that's the science with like water. You want to drink water that's alkaline because that's dealing with the negative pH balance, which is good for your hydration and good for homeostasis and everything, and balance of the body, and like your everything, helps with the production of the functioning of the organs, rather I say, what I'm saying, like everything. Water is vital. Water is life. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I'm just, I'm just on here to just build with y'all, man. Like I said, man, been going for a minute now. I'm back with the jump off. God's in the building in case something jump off. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, we just had to drop these jewels. Oh, so let me go back to the credit, right? When I was talking about credit, right? I kind of drifted. So just talk about credit. So you wanna get a business account established, like an LLC or a foreign LLC. Now, when you deal with the foreign LLC, because this is what I'm trying to say, you want to try to not have what's called a minimum contact with the state. And how they do that often is through the social. Every time you have that social attached somewhere, that's the minimal contact to the state, because the social was given as a number to identify you as property. That's why we got to get the EIN for your business entity. So now what you have to do is you have to call the IRS. When you do the prompt thing on the IRS website, they're going to tell you need to put that social. They're going to prompt you to put the social in. But when you call them and speak to a live agent and you tell them, listen, I'm trying to get an EIN number for my business entity. And they're going to say, okay, well, what's the social security? I said, no. You tell them, no, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, sir. This is for a business entity. It's for my trust or for the LLC. And it's not a business. It's not a personal entity, and it doesn't have a social. You know what I mean? It's not like for me personally, so it's not a personal account. It's not pertaining to a social. It's a business account, and therefore you're getting it for the business account, the EIN for the business account. So therefore now they're going to ask you what's the name of the business, ask you, date of entry, all that good stuff, whatever, and all the info they ask you on the site except for the social. You know what I mean? Sun, moon, and star. Peace, God. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna ask you for everything except for the social, basically, and then they're gonna send you to your email the number once they process it or whatever. It'll take like 24 hours. Next day or 48 hours after, you're gonna get that in your email. Now, once you got the EIN number for the business entity, whether the LLC or the whatever it is, or the foreign LLC, you know what I'm saying? Because also you can get it for the foreign LLC. And the foreign LLC, like I said, you could just make a publish of it in a newspaper or periodical or something and just make it public knowledge. That's called general circulation. You put it into general circulation where whoever needs to see it can see it. You know what I'm saying? And then you're letting them know basically it's a foreign LLC and you're independently contracting via the EIN number. You don't have to state necessarily about the EIN number, whatever in your thing. You just say, listen, I have an LLC, foreign LLC, and I'm independently contracting. Whoever wants to contract with me, contact me at blah, blah, blah. You put it like as an ad. But the ad is also public knowledge that you let the public know, listen, there's an LLC in existence, a foreign LLC. It's ran through an EIN. It's foreign, basically. And, whoever wants to contract with me can contract with me because I'm independently contracting. You didn't register it with the state, so you don't have to contract with or through the state or with the social. I mean, and you don't need your social for a LLC, a limited liability corporation, or even for the foreign LLC, but you're going to need it if you get that social on the IRS website. So that's why I say create the business entity, then call the IRS and tell them you need a EIN number for the business entity. And they're going to ask you all the questions, whatever, blah, blah, and everything is set for the social. You make it known that it's not a personal entity, so it doesn't apply to the social. You talk with Sa, let me know buying a book and learning this knowledge and teaching about entities. You're doing something positive. Yes, sir. Yeah, and right as that, God, you just put me on track too about the book. That's exactly what I'm going to do. When I have all my documentation drawn up, I'm going to put it in a book. However, I'm not going to be necessarily selling the book because the book is going to be for just like my legal purposes as a way that I can use that as my form of law. So, for example, like I was saying about the rules of evidence, Rule 902, rules of evidence. It states that basically books, pamphlets, newspaper articles, periodicals, whatever case may be, all of these are forms of what's called of our general circulation, and it makes it public knowledge. And these are forms of information that'll be acceptable or admissible as evidence in a court. So now, once I put all this information into a book, the book is going to get what's called an ISBN number, an International Standard Book Number, which now makes it an internationally recognized product or entity or whatever case may be. The book is going to be recognized internationally through the International Standard Book Number, the ISBN number. If you look on the back of a book right now, if you look at the registration code or the code or whatever, you're going to see on the bottom, it's going to say ISBN and it's going to have a number next to it. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. So now that means that this number recognizes the fact that this book is up to par with international standard. And if it's up to par with international standard and recognition, that means that it's going to be recognized under international law. See what I'm saying? So now when you come into a state courtroom with your book that's internationally recognized, it might be a little bit out of their jurisdiction, buddy. You know how to say in the movies, you're out of your jurisdiction, buddy. So they might not even be able to deal with the situation because, once again, according to the Constitution, the United States, and especially their courts, cannot deal with foreign entities. They can't stop you from your right to contract unlimitedly. You know what I'm saying? So unlimited. So therefore, you know what I mean? You have the right to contract, basically. You know what I mean? That's what people got to understand. You know what I mean? A lot of times they think just like, oh man, I can't do this, I can't do that, they're not gonna let me do this, or they're not gonna. Ain't about what they allowed you to do, it's what you choose to do and you doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. It ain't about what they gonna let you do and all of that, man. People got to stop eating from the tree of fear. Like I keep telling people, stop eating from the tree of fear. Study the laws so you know exactly what laws that you're implementing and how you stand on the law, and then manifest it. Right as that, International Standard Book Number. You know what I mean? So yeah, you get that number, now your book is internationally recognized. You know what I mean? And then now you can stand on that as your law. And when you serve, like whatever case you may be dealing with, whatever the situation is, if you have to serve anyone, you're not going to serve them a copy of your book. Like if they want that book, they're going to cop that. They're going to have to cop that on Amazon or something, or they're going to have to, whatever case may be. And and you know what? Too, part of self. Actually, I could sell the book, but the donate I can do it as a form of donation. See, that's another thing too. What people need to understand too. When we put y'all on some game, you can start up a non-profit, and I don't really say non-profit organization because sometimes they have to report things. Well, actually, no, they don't. They're non-profit organizations, so they're tax exempt. Or you can create what's called like a community organization or some kind of community fund, type thing, and you can make donations to that fund, and that fund can give what's called gift incentives or gifts to its members. So in all of those transferring of funds are called what's called non-taxable events, meaning those things can't be taxed. So that's not tax evasion. That's not tax evasion. That's tax avoidance. And that's a technical term. It's called tax avoidance, not tax evasion. I'm not teaching anyone tax evasion. I'm showing you tax avoidance, how to avoid taxes. You don't have to pay taxes. Reason why we're paying taxes. Oh, and also too, let me put you on to another jewel. What's called the revocation of election. Y'all hear this? Y'all? I'm dropping consistent jewels. You understand what I'm saying? And did I once sit here and say, hey, just for $19.99, you can get the blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? No, because I'm not necessarily selling this information. Now, if you want services from me, such as document preparation and things of that nature, showing you how to put together your documents, showing you how to register your LLC, how to get that all drawn up and made up and blah, 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 how to get your EIN number, how to get your ISBN number, how to get your Duns and Bradstreet number, things of that nature, and I take out my time to help you do that, then yeah, you know what I mean? Rightfully so, because I'm taking out time and effort from my life that I can't get back. So yeah, I could be Mr. Nice Guy and help everybody. I'm helping you right now by giving you the knowledge. If you're not lazy, you'll just go and do the research and do the same thing that I'm doing. But if you want me to take my time to help you do whatever X, Y, and Z, then yeah, I'm gonna need some compensation for that, and rightfully so. You know what I mean? But the information right now that's coming, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? That's free. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, I say, well, not even all the time, let me stop. I just created a saying that, information is free, documentation is a fee. So all this information, I'm just giving this freely, free. Information is spewing out of me. I'm pouring the cup of water. I'm the Aquarius, as they say, bearing the pitcher of water. And I'm telling my birthday just passed yesterday, Aquarius in the building, in the flesh. You know what I mean? I'm bearing the pitcher of water. I'm pouring water is wisdom. I'm pouring out all the water, all the wisdom. Now, if you're going to pull your cup and drink, then you pull up your cup and drink. How they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And my saying is, you can lead people to knowledge, but you can't make them think. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you can lead people to knowledge, but you can't make them think. Just like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force that horse. You can't push that horse. You know how strong a horse is? You can't force that horse head down there like, drink that damn water. That horse will buck back at your ass and crack you in half. You know what I'm saying? So, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So just like you can lead people to knowledge, but you can't make them think. You can try to explain things to people. They'll start getting mad at you and getting upset with you because you trying to explain to them the proper way to do things or how they could do things and actually get it done. Because a lot of people want to sit around and talk about stuff and make excuses as to why they can't get stuff done. Oh, well, I'm waiting on my man to da-da-da. Like they be waiting on somebody else to teach them something or to show them something or what the case may be, and it's like sometimes we be in that situation because we got to deal with personalities. So, if you're dealing with a certain person and they got a certain personality trait about themselves where they may be a little selfish or they may be a little, well, I got this information and I feel special about it. So I'm not just telling any and everybody. You know what I mean? They might feel that way. So you might have to deal with them on a level like, okay, well, just kind of dealing with them and being like, okay, well, if they want to build on this, then we'll build on that. But at the same time, that doesn't stop your progress from doing what you do. You know what I'm saying? Never let what another person is doing stop you from doing what you're doing. If anything, what they're doing can only add on to what you're doing. But never let their level of progress or their level of whatever stop your level. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's like people like people to follow the leader. Like, I ain't here to follow nobody. I only follow long enough until I know how to lead. You know what I'm saying? I tell people the same thing. Follow long enough until you know how to lead. Because that's the whole purpose. You follow because you're learning how to lead, not just following to be a follower forever. You know what I'm saying? That's what followers do. You know what I'm saying? So when you following to learn how to lead, then you on the right track. You know what I'm saying? Because you're saying like, okay, I'm gonna work on this job, but I'm saving and I'm grinding to start up my own business to the point where I have enough to start my own business and I don't have to work here for this person anymore under their terms and conditions. I have my own terms and conditions where I can set my own schedule, wake up anytime I want, come in anytime I want, start my day of business whenever I want, and end my day of business whenever I want. Take breaks whenever I want. Take a break and take a call. Like, I got a call, I'm taking a break whenever I want. You know what I'm saying? that's how we got to get it. You know what I mean? So yeah, like self-independence, man, being independent, man, because working for other people keeps you in a mentality of working for other people because you're depending on that check from week to week. So that's the whole thing. So my whole thing is like, even KRS, he dropped a jewel. He said, when you he said, like, to the parents that are not working anymore. He said, when you lose your job or when you stop working, that's when you find your purpose. You know what I mean? Because you notice when people stop working or they retired, they start doing the things that they always wanted to do in life, things that they actually enjoy, things that they actually, like to do. So it's like when they stop having to punch a clock every day, now they have the time to do what they actually wanted to do for themselves. So my thing is that before we even get up in age to have to do that, you know what I'm saying? It maybe took me a little some time because I had to study and learn all this stuff, you know what I mean? To get up to this point where now I can try to make an attempt to be free on my own, you know what I mean? And do my own thing, you know what I mean? So, it takes some time. You ain't just gonna jump, from zero to from 1 to 9 overnight. You know what I mean? It's a building process. You know what I mean? Being an adult working for other people just doesn't feel right. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? I feel you. Word is bond. You always want to be independent. You always want to, do for self. You know what I mean? But like I say, we in a situation where we may not could just jump from 1 to 9, overnight. So we might have to work on that plantation as a slave long enough to where we be like, you know what? I'm gonna be the master of my own land, and I'm not even gonna treat it like a plantation. It's gonna be a land where my nation is on, and we're enjoying just natural life. You know what I'm saying? How about that? You know what I mean? Yeah, because like I say, but a lot of people, man, a lot of brothers and sisters, they got that fear mentality and not only the fear mentality, but the crab in the barrel mentality. Like, oh, where you going? How you trying to get out of the barrel? No, nigga, they clinging on to each other. They don't want nobody to get out of the barrel. You know what I'm saying? Or if they see you trying to get out, they want to cling on to you so they can get out. Don't cling on to me and give me more weight. Push me up. And then when I'm up, I'm going to extend my hand back up and lift you out. You know what I'm saying? That's how it go. Don't try to cling on to me because now you're making it harder for me to even get out. You know what I'm saying? So when I be building with people, like, I'll tell you straight up, man, I have no time for, I'm gonna sympathize with your little something, something. But when I see that you like dragging your feet or you talking with that poor spirited talk like that, well, then I gotta beef up on you. Now I gotta get into you now a little something, you know what I'm saying? And speak, affirmative because nah, man, we not with that scary talk, with that laziness, with that, well, because we ain't never gonna get nothing done like that, man. We gotta stop that mentality. We gotta stop excuses, stop being comfortable. Another thing is we're comfortable. Like this girl dropped a jewel on me one time. She was a 10% bloodsucker, but anyway, she dropped a jewel on me one time. She was like, yeah, it's about, you getting out of your comfort zone. Said right, but you're comfortable at the plantation. Then sometimes ain't right with you, and our nature harmonize with it. Yeah, right, right. Your nature doesn't harmonize with being a slave. Exactly, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we yearn for more. Word is bond, and yeah, we have to. You know what I mean? Because it's like how like yo, my mom told me once. Rest in peace, my old earth. You know what I mean? I love my moms, but you know what I'm saying? She told me one time, man. We was having a discussion, and she said, well, you always gonna have to work as long as you're on this planet. You're gonna have to work for the white man. I was like, I said, no, ma, no, 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 ma. I don't even think like that. That's not no, no, ma. I don't even think like that. Like no. I'm not always gonna have to work for the white man. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be independent and you can start your own business. You can do your own services, and you know what I mean. One of the services I'm gonna start presenting to people is you know um, how to establish themselves like a franchise. You know what I'm saying? How to have multiple businesses and have these contracts and how to draw their contracts to perform in their businesses. And basically everything that I have established, I'm going to sell as a blueprint. Now you could I could lease my franchise name and symbol and everything like that to you. But a lot of people don't want to do that. And sometimes you don't want to just lease your stuff to anybody because if they don't keep your symbol and your brand up to par and represent it right, that makes your brand look bad. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, people can give me a upfront free, excuse me, a upfront free, no, upfront fee to basically establish their contracts for them. You know what I'm saying? And basically, like, because I have the template. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to do all the revising, putting in your company name, your address, your info, and all and revising it to make it fit for your company and your name and your company and everything. So basically, that's what I'm going to be offering to other people. You know what I mean? So then they can have the same thing that I have, but have it for themselves, have the same contracts I have for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And then they can get it set up and everything. You know what I'm saying? So this is how I'm going to fund myself and how they can get themselves established so they can operate in a more sophisticated capacity and make more funds for themselves. So it's an investment for the business owner. It's an investment for them so that they can get, like I say, more sophisticated with their operating uh, format and structure, because that's what the franchise basically does. Is a structure for your business. So that's what I provide to them so that they can use that as a model to now advance their business. You know what I mean? So that's one of the services that I provide. And too, man, I must start. I'm speaking to a lot of people lately, man, and even telling me like, yo, you need to promote yourself, man. You need to, because I've been so in the mentality of, we poor righteous teachers and we don't blood suck the people. We not 10%ers, and like I said, so that's why I be giving out all this free information. But like I say, at the same time, man, if this is gonna be like my lifestyle and I'm doing this as something in life, I need to be compensated. Like I need to feed myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to be able to support myself as well. So it's like, yeah, I can help people and do that, but I can't be Mr. Johnny Good Guy all my life and I'm fucking old as hell and helping everybody else out. But who's helping me? You know what I'm saying? Like you got so many teachers and leaders and people that put so much dedication into their people and into their community and all of that, man. And then when they get up of age, ain't nobody there to help them or take care of them or do nothing for them. All they dare to do is just rep their name and be like, oh, so-and-so, Dr. So-and-so taught this, and Dr. So-and-so taught us that, and da-da-da-da. But you was right there in the community where Dr. So-and-so lived. Why didn't you make sure that Dr. So-and-so was taken care of and he was okay? All of that he gave, all his blood, sweat, and tears he gave, all his breath he gave to teach and educate the people. And then what do the people do for him when he needs them? You know what I mean? Like that's some shit that other races of people do. When their elders get older, they put their elders in nursing homes. You know what I'm saying? We as melanated people, we don't really do that, man. We take care of grandma until she pass away. We take care of grandpa until he pass away. You know what I mean? So it should be the same way in the so-called, quote unquote conscious community, where we got, elders and leaders and teachers that gave all their life works and blood, sweat, and tears to teach their people and do so much for their people. And then when they come of age and they may not have the resources or the finance or the things they need to be comfortable before they make their transition, we should be there as the people of the community to do that for them. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go out like that, basically. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going out like that. You know what I'm saying? Word is bond. You know what I mean? I ain't going out like that. I'm going to make sure that I build something for myself and that I compensate myself. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be out here creating schemes and scams to blood suck the people. That's not what I do. I'm going to give you this righteous information and I'm going to deal with people that's in support. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I'm still not going to, be giving information and doing what I do, but I'm just trying to say that, I need to take myself to another higher level. I need to elevate myself as well. And I need to build and add on. You know what I mean? So that's what I intend to do. That's what I'm going to do. And we in the year wisdom cipher, wisdom. So therefore, as we have the truth, we got to be victorious. You know what I'm saying? We got to be victorious with the truth. And we got to wisdom the cipher. We got to manifest wisdom in the cipher and keep on wisdoming our wisdom. So in the year wisdom, 22, I will be wisdoming my wisdom. I'll be putting in further motion the things that I've been doing thus far. And I'll be, not sitting around idolizing the information, but putting into action, putting into motion, getting all my documentation notarized, authenticated, published, ISBN numbers, all that good stuff. I'm going to send off maybe a couple months or so. I'm going to send off my Universal Peace Treaty. You know what I'm saying? See if I can get that approval. If it don't get the approval of the Senate due to the supremacy clause, it's still going to be a self-executed treaty. And I'm just going to do my own thing. But y'all have the acknowledgement. You've been put on public notice. You know what I mean? If anything. So, and it's going to be an open treaty. Those who are, or it's going to be open for a session. Those who want to accede to the treaty, you know what I mean? There'll be like a screening, you know what I mean? You can apply, there'll be a form of application. And you can apply and then we'll review you and, screen you and see if we want a treaty with you. You know what I mean? We're not just letting anybody come and sign on and, hey, just because you wanted to, you can. No, there's going to be a screening process. You know what I mean? Just like you moving into an apartment, the people are going to screen you and see what's going on with your credit, with your family, how many people you choose to move in with, what kind of people are you? Do you smoke? Do you have pets? Do you play loud music? Do you have a lot of company come over? This is a residential area, blah, 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 stuff like that. They're going to screen you. So they want to know what's going on with you. So the same thing. If anybody wants to accede to our peace treaty, then your nation is going to be screened. You know what I mean? And then we'll decide if we want to, access you to the treaty. You know what I mean? So, that's how that goes. And that's all contract. A treaty is a contract. That's what we got to understand. So going back to what I was saying before about contracts, you know what I mean? Everything is a contract. So with the foreign LLC, and let me get back to the credit thing, because I know that's real important and I didn't finish that up. I'm going to end off on this note. The credit, when you're building your credit, so right, you want to get the LLC or the foreign LLC with the EIN number without the social or whatever, or even if you got it with the social, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Like, so not whatever, but with the social, it's in the public. Without the social, it's in the private. You know what I mean? But you're operating in the public, but from a private capacity, as opposed to operating in the public from a public capacity, and you just have no protections and you're just liable for everything. And even though it's a limited liability corporation, LLC, it's still registered with the state. So you have certain laws, rules, and regulations. Section 803 or something like that is for the limited liability laws of New York or whatever state you're in. You know what I'm saying? It's going to say there on the LLC forms, section such and such is under it. And that's going to be the rules that's going to be the rules that you have to adhere to according to that registering that LLC. So now, the reason why I say about creating a foreign LLC, because with a foreign LLC, you can say that the governing laws for this foreign LLC are the provisions set forth in this foreign LLC or the provisions set forth in your trust in which the LLC is scheduled under. You know what I mean? So in the or the provision, and also I created, like I said, a document called the provision for trustee, and I'm actually end on that one after I finish this credit thing. All right, so the credit, right? Basically, you want to get that business entity established. Just put it like that: a business entity in general established. Get the EIN for that. Now you're going to open up the business account. Now you're going to have direct payments accounts made to pay whatever bills. You got your cell phone. So now your cell phone or your business phone that you have in the name of your company. So whatever your company name is, you need to call your cell phone company and say, listen, I need to change the name on the cell phone because now it's part of my business. I'm using it as a business name for a business phone. So I need to change the name. So whenever someone calls, I need it to pop up and say the name of my business. So you have them change that with your phone company. It's very easy. You can do that. Now, whenever the payment is made through direct deposit, it's paid for your bill. It's paid for your cell phone bill and whatever other bills you have in the name of the business. And then every time that payment is made, be the fact that you have a Duns and Bradstreet number also set up. So the Duns and Bradstreet number is what you need to establish so that you can make the automatic reportings to the credit bureau every time you make a monthly payment or a weekly payment, whatever the payments you set up through the direct deposit. And I say set it up through the direct deposit so that way you ain't even got to remember to keep making all these payments. They're already set up and it's just automatically done. And also, like I say, you can take your tax money and just make a couple of payments ahead or set it up to where those payments are made every day from the debit card or credit card that's attached to, or the business account that it's attached to. It's being paid through that automatically. So you don't forget nothing, because sometimes you might forget to make the payment, and now that kind of messes up your steadiness or your consistency of making the payments. You know what I mean? Especially if you got a whole bunch of business entities open and you got a whole bunch of different payments. Sometimes you might forget, you know what I mean? So direct deposit helps out with that. So now, like I say, so now you got all that set up. So now you can do it one business entity, or you can have a couple of businesses set up and have a couple of accounts. So now that you have a couple of accounts, you're going to start building credit on all these different accounts. So now what you do is, now let's say you got 5 businesses open up, 5 LLCs or 5 whatever foreign LLCs or 5 S corps or whatever the case may be, or just an independent contracting company, whatever the name is, and you have an EIN for that foreign entity. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. The reason why I would recommend the foreign thing is so that, like I say, you don't have an attachment to the social and it's not a contact with the state where they can tax you. You can keep everything foreign, and then whatever money is made through that foreign entity, you can donate it to your charitable entity or your nonprofit org. And then through your nonprofit org, you can give gifts to your members. And in that way, it's all non-taxable. And you basically get to enjoy your money without it being taxed by anybody. Isn't that smart? Doesn't that make a lot of sense? So yeah, that's what you can do. So that's with the credit. So now with the credit, with the multiple credit entities, you can after a while merge all of those different entities into one entity and get like a big lump sum of credit if you want to make a large purchase, or you want to start up another big business, or whatever the case may be. That's how you build up the business credit. So now the last thing I was going to end off on was the straw man, the provision for trustee. Now the provision for trustee is basically a power of attorney. But like I said, that term power of attorney is like my man King Abe said, it's a trick of the devil, because they basically trying to trick you to make you think you got a fancy title. Oh, I'm the power of attorney. But remember, what is an attorney? An attorney is the duty of the attorney is to turn you over to the jurisdiction of the court. That's why they always say, oh, is your client here? Oh, yes, my client is here. And he's like, come up, step up. And then you step up there. Yes, I'm here, Your Honor. You know what I'm saying? Now he just turned you over to the court's jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? And that was his job. That's why he always calls you a couple days before or the day before. Listen, you got court tomorrow. Listen, you want to be there on time. You don't want to make the judge mad, and he preps you to come to court. Why does he do that? Because this is how he gets paid. It's called performance bonds, payment bonds. And if you get locked up and go to jail, he's going to create a bid bond, which is going to mature when your sentence is complete. The performance bond is his pledge to turn you over to the court, to get you to come to court every time you need to come to court until the case is done. That's the performance bond that he draws up. The payment bond matures after the performance is done. So after he did his performance to turn you over to the court every time until the case is over, whether he got it dismissed, got you off, or you got in trouble for it, whatever case may be, found guilty, whatever. After that happens, he gets those bonds mature, and then he gets his payment bond. Now, the bid bond comes in is if you get locked up for whatever. Because like I say, a lot of times, man, these legal aids or public defenders, whatever, they will sell you up the river. For one thing, you got to know about if you're in the state of New York, it's called the 180/80 rights. If they're trying to accuse you of some kind of crime or whatever the case may be, they have 6 to 7 days to indict you. If there's not an indictment from a grand jury after 6 or 7 days, they have to release you. And the reason why they won't have an indictment, because the first thing the legal aid or the lawyer, even if you have a paid lawyer or whoever, the first thing they're supposed to do is file a motion for discovery. Motion for discovery, not motion of discovery, motion for discovery. And I think they even title it that way too, motion for discovery. You know what I mean? Because this is what the motion is for. You know what I mean? So that means that the prosecutor, whoever the opposing, whoever is trying to bring the charge against you, they have to produce evidence to substantiate the indictment. If they did not do that, then they have to release you. Now, if you've been held in jail longer than 7 days and you haven't been released, and the lawyer's coming or whoever's coming and telling you some bullshit and blah, 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 and I'm going to try to do this and try to do that, that means that he waived your 180/80 rights without your permission, and he violated, I think it's called the 190 ethics code, and they have like a code of ethics that they're supposed to follow, and I think it's like code 190 or something like that. They violated that, as to where they were supposed to give you full disclosure and full transparency on everything that they was doing with your case. You can't just make decisions without you. You're not supposed to do that. So when they allowed the case to go past the discovery, that means that he waived your 180/80 rights. And you was in there longer than 7 days without an indictment from a grand jury, that means he waived your rights. And now he's just trying to get you cop a deal. He's going to try to get you to cop out to a deal now. The reason why he has to make a deal, because he didn't get you off the way he was supposed to. You know what I'm saying? He didn't file the proper motion for discovery so that they can see if they have evidence or not. And if they don't have evidence, then the next thing you file is motion to dismiss because of their lack of evidence, lack of discovery. You understand? I was locked up before, man, and there being a little jailhouse lawyer and all that, trying to tell brothers, put them up on legal game. Why? Because I actually, instead of sitting there playing cards all fucking day, I'm signing up to go to the law library. Duh. While you niggas sitting around and talking about what my lawyer said, my legal aid said, the attorney said, nigga, he told you some bullshit. That's why you still sitting in here, dummy. And you ain't going to the law library to study your fucking case. Like I just telling brother on the phone earlier. They're going to tell you, oh, you're facing 2 to 3 years. You could be facing 3 years for this. Had you went to the law library and studied whatever the charge was and realized that it was only a class E misdemeanor and you probably only facing like up to a year, that's the most you could actually get. You didn't know that, so you believe that nigga like, oh man, I'm facing 2 to 3 years. Oh man, I don't want to do that. So let me cop out to this 2 years and a year probation. Nigga, you still got 3 years, dummy. They just gave you a year of it probation. You know what I'm saying? But now you just fell for the okie doke because you didn't go and research to know what you were actually facing. You believed him and he told you whatever. You know what I'm saying? And he told you whatever, and you fell for it because you're sitting behind the bars like, oh man, I just want to get out of here, man. I hope he's doing the right thing. You put your fate in his hands instead of going and researching and getting the knowledge. So now the next time he comes to you and you sitting in the cell and he tell you that bullshit, you be like, yeah, well, I went to because look, they check that too. They let your lawyer know that because the lawyer can check your records of your activity in the jail to see what's going on with you. And he could see, oh, he signed up for the law library. Oh shit. He might start scratching his head now. Like, oh, when I come to see him next time, he might be educated and I can't just tell him the bullshit. Yeah, exactly. So now when he come back to you after you sitting in there longer than your 7 days because he waived your 180/80 rights, you can tell him, yo, I looked up, the thing and talks about the 180/80 rights. Yo, it's past 7 days. Has it been an indictment by the grand jury? No. So why am I still in here? Because you waived my 180/80 rights, yo. You violated your code of ethics. And now I'm going to have to write the bar association and bring you and get you, you know what I'm saying? Like, word is bond. You tell them that shit. Now they could get mad and try to drop the case and transfer you to somebody else and be like, all right, fuck, I'm fucking with this dude. But niggas still do what you got to do. Now, a lot of times we don't follow up and do all of that. But sometimes you just got to threaten them and let them know that you know what the fuck to do in the process of things. So they be like, oh, damn, I ain't fucking with this dude. He can fuck around and get me in trouble. Yo, just by you reporting them to the bar association, that puts them under scrutiny anyway. Because, wow, you got somebody who you must have really did something if this person took it all the way to the point where they contacted the bar association, which is the British administration, registries, statutes, or some shit or whatever else called. But the bar association, that's the British administration of lawyers and all of that shit, basically. And that's what the judge and the prosecutor are both employed by. So that's why I say it comes back to a conflict of interest. You could get a case dismissed based on conflict of interest. Just mention in your motion of discovery or in your first writings to them that this is a conflict of interest. You're you're employed by the bar association. The prosecutor is employed by the bar association. This is obviously a conflict of interest. Y'all both on the same side. This is a bias against me. I have no wins here. I have no possible wins. See what I'm saying? So that's a violation of your due process of law. You know what I mean? Because it's all about that, the so-called due process of law. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So, you know, that's what it is, man. That's what it is. But like I say, man, if people don't have the knowledge, then they can't stand on their square because they don't know. And if you don't know, then you're dealing with ignorance, and ignorance leads to fear because you're afraid now because you don't know what to do, that something bad might happen. But if you know what to do, something good might happen in your favor because you know what time it is. So like I said, when I put that lawyer on point about yo, he did some ill shit. He got me what's called an omnibus hearing, where they have to go back and look into the motion of discovery and see if they produced any discovery. And if there was no discovery produced, no evidence produced, they got to dismiss it. See what I'm saying? I learned about that through him. You know what I mean? Because I studied that shit after he gave me the paperwork and it said omnibus hearing. I went and looked that shit up. You know what I mean? I didn't just say, oh, okay, I'm just glad I'm out of here. All right, bye, thank you. You know what I'm saying? That's what most people do. And they go about their life and whatever. No, I looked that shit up. That shit said omnibus hearing. And if you look up an omnibus hearing, it says when basically they go back into the motion discovery, see that there was no evidence produced. And therefore, and really, I could have a lawsuit in there because them niggas had me in there for like almost 30 days. You know what I'm saying? Past the 7 days, they were supposed to have an indictment. You know what I'm saying? For the little bullshit, whatever. But anyway, so, you know, whatever. So really, I could go back and sue for all of those days I was in there that I shouldn't have been in there. You know what I mean? But, you know, it takes a lot to bring a suit and all of that. And a lot of times, you know, we be like, all right, whatever. I ain't even going, you know, We just forget about it. We be happy to be out and we go about with our lives. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, I'll give you another jewel. I think it's Article 72. It was 72, 73, or 79, or maybe 78. It's Article 70 something. Tort law. Just type in Article 72, I think it is. I think it's 72. 78. Damn. All right. Type in all of those. Type in Article 72, Article 73, 78, or 79. One of them. One is going to be one of those. But whichever article it is, it's for, like, type in Article 72 tort law, Article 73 tort law, or whatever. You type in, it's in the computer's going to show you the right terminology for it anyway. But type that in though. And that right there, that article shows you, for at least for New York State, that article is how you file a tort law or a tort claim, a claim of injury or you know, tort against, you know, you or your estate, the so-called straw man. That's how you file that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and I would say to people, you know what I'm saying, you know, because a lot of times when you file a lawsuit in your county or in your state, you might want to move out of that state or that county for a little while until that case is done. And even a little while after, because whenever people have lawsuits in their state and they stay in that state and they're driving around, the police are aware of who you are. They're going to see your car. They're going to pull you over. They're going to be constantly harassing you and trying to egg you on to get into some kind of dispute where they could possibly fuck around and pull out that thing and then blast off on you because they don't want you to be successful with that lawsuit. You understand? So filing a lawsuit is something very serious. You know what I mean? So I will definitely put that information out there to let people know. You know how people always talk about, oh, I'm going to sue them. I'm going to sue them. I'll sue them. I'm going to sue them. Yeah, we always talking this hot shit about we going to sue this and sue that. Nigga, we don't even know how to sue. You don't even know how to file a lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? So how you gonna sue somebody? You know what I mean? So anyway, so we got to know the procedure. And like I say, even when you do that, you're gonna have you will be it will be good to move out of that state and only come back into that state when you need to come to court. You know what I'm saying? And they might be looking for you on that day. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you know what I mean? Just stating that. So to finish off, man, this wasn't really supposed to go that long. I was supposed to finish off on the how to take control of the straw man. Basically, how you do that is by creating your own private entity. Create your own private name and then create a document of name change and state that you, in your private new name, you as King Jaffe Jofar, and taking control of the straw man known as whatever, whatever, whatever. So now you in your private capacity as King so and so is taking control over the John Doe straw man name. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you would do that. So and then whenever you sign documents, you sign as King such and such, as agent, acting as agent for John Doe. You know what I'm saying? Or John Doe, um, John Doe. Hold on, let me pull this up real fast. Um, John Doe. John Doe by King such and such as agent. You know what I mean? So, but I like saying it the other way around, the first way around, where you put your private name, King so and so, acting as agent for blah blah blah. You know what I mean? That's more proper because you're putting your private capacity first, and then you're stating you're acting as the agent for the public capacity. So now it's not like you stated the private capacity first and then saying I'm operating from in a private capacity for that person. No, you state the private capacity first as agent for the public capacity. You know what I'm saying? First things first and last things last. I try to explain to people all the time, you got to do things in the private first before you bring it into the public. So your will, your trust, and all of those things, your provision for trustee is all established in the private first before you bring it into the public. How do you establish it in the private? By simply doing what's called a poor man's copyright, where you can mail a copy of that document to yourself. And you can even, to avoid the jurisdiction of the courts, you can even have it sent to yourself through a private, what do you call a process server, a private process server. That's like a third party entity to mail the document to you. And they might even, being that you have to fax it to them, they'll even have a copy of your documentation. So they'll act as a custodian of records for your documentation as well. Or you can have a notary be a custodian of records and mail your documentation from their notary office, and then they can act as a custodian of records as well. And then they can perform what's called a notarial protest. Like, say, when you're serving somebody, if you're dealing in the public and you ain't getting no remedy, you can privately serve them some kind of contract that you up to create a new stipulation. They don't have to agree and they don't even have to respond. Okay, cool, fine, don't respond. You send them, you serve them once privately, serve them twice privately, then you send them what's called an opportunity to cure. Opportunity to cure, stating that, listen, man, I served you, man, I served you again. You not answering me, what's going on? I'm gonna give you one more chance to respond. You know what I mean? They don't respond after that. Okay, cool, done. Now you go to the court and you file for the notary, the dismissal of the case due to the notarial protest. And then you can have the notary come to the court. She don't have to attest to what's in the documentation. All he or she has to do is state that, yes, I sent this document to that lawyer's office from my notary office. And here's the receipts of the service and blah, 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 the certified mail, green strips and everything that she received back. So when the person signed for it, they get the little green strips back to let them know somebody has it and they signed for it. She could bring that to court, present that to the judge as the evidence that she did serve these people from their office. She served them once, she served them twice, she sent the opportunity to cure, still got no response. Now we coming to you, judge, to get the dismissal or the summary judgment for dismissal. You know what I mean? I just gave y'all mad legal game right now. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even call it game. Truth. I just gave y'all truth on how to handle things procedurally, because it's about the procedure. It ain't about all the right and wrong. That's what we get caught up in as spiritual, moral people. We actually have a soul. These demons don't operate spiritually the way we operate. They don't care about right and wrong. They don't care about all of that. It's all a business to them. It's all business as usual. Next, next, next. And they treat you like that and they keep it moving. They don't want you coming into court with all that nigger knowledge, talking the law and this and that and da 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 da. Because now you're holding up their courtroom, and now you're also exposing to people that you could come at them like this. Oh shit, you can actually stand on the law and implement the law. Yo, I like the way you heard that guy, the way he got up there and spoke to the judge. Oh shit, that nigga has some power with him. Yeah, you know what I mean? So know what they're gonna do? When you serve them privately, your case is going to be called last. And they're going to bring you in the courtroom when ain't nobody else in there. They're going to excuse all them other people that usually be in there. They're going to excuse all of them because they don't even want the lawyers and the little interns and all that to know about the private side of law. See what I'm saying? So they're going to excuse all of them from the room. They're going to have just you and the bailiff in there and the stenographer or whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're just going to have a real limited amount of people in there. It ain't going to be full like it usually be. Because now, and technically too, it has to be that way too, because now you're dealing with a private matter. So even though the courts are open to the public, when you serve them privately, you now place them in a private capacity. So when you show up, you also put in your paperwork that you let proceed you. You put in your paperwork that you will be appearing by way of special visitation, not that special appearance shit, special visitation, letting them know I'm only visiting. I'm here to visit, address the issue or whatever, and keep it moving. I'm not here to be held in contempt. I'm not here to spend any time in your jails or nothing like that. I'm here to address the matter and be out and go back into my private capacity. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, man. So like I say, man, you got to take control of the straw, man. Now the provision for attorney is basically it has the same stuff in there as the power of attorney, but every time where it says power of attorney, I change that to provision for trustee. And then when it says what is the governing laws of this provision for trustee, the governing laws are the provisions that are stated in the section labeled as powers of agent. I could have changed it to provisions for trustee. I could have changed that part of it too. You know what I mean? But I just left that as that was, just so you can understand that the provision for trustee is exactly that. It's the power. The provisions are the powers or the ability of what the trustee is able to do. So the powers of the agent is basically the provisions of the trustee. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's what the trustee is able to do. So that is the governing law for that document. The provisions set forth in the power of agent section of this document. See powers of agent section of this document. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. That's how you write things. See? And I'm also showing y'all how to draw up contracts. This is how you write your contracts, because you have the right to ability to contract. And when you serve them privately, what you're doing is you're serving them a private contract that you drew up, you got notarized and authenticated and all of that. And now you're serving them with a private contract, not with a public petition to the court where you're petitioning the court to do something for you. You're giving them private service with a private contract that you're now holding them liable to. Because like I said, the first thing you're going to ask them when you step into court is, Your Honor, are you in receipt of my private service? Oh, yeah, I received it in my chambers. Yeah, I have it. Okay, thank you. Your Honor, may you ask the prosecutor if they're inside, because you know how you can't talk directly to the prosecutor. You got to address them through the middleman, which is the judge. And the reason why he's the middleman, because he's actually the trustee. See what I'm saying? And who is the executor? Now, in a private situation, being that you serve them privately with your private contract, you're actually the executor, the creditor, the grantor, or whatever. You're initiating the service. You're initiating the court because you're, as the executor, serving them privately. And now what you do is when you get into court, you appoint the judge as the public trustee to protect your interests as the beneficiary. You understand? So understand, executor, trustee, beneficiary. If you're coming from a private capacity, entering into the public, you want to make the judge the trustee. You're going to appoint him as the trustee. You know what I mean? Because being that, even if you serve them privately, the judge can't necessarily deal in private affairs, remember? So now you have to from your private capacity appoint him as a public trustee to protect your benefit, whether it be public or private, within this venue of this court. Because if not, they're going to try to make you say that, because what they do, the first thing question they ask you, state your name, da, 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 da. They want you to say you're John Doe, the all capital letter straw man. Once you say that, you just made yourself liable and you made yourself the trustee. And now the trustee can't take the benefits of the beneficiary. That would be breach of trust law. So if you make yourself liable and you place yourself as a trustee, you can't get the benefit, which is your remedy or whatever you're asking for. That's the benefit you want to get, but you can't get that now because you just place yourself as a trustee. See what I'm saying? So you serve them from your private capacity, and then when you get in their public venue, you publicly appoint the judge as the trustee to protect your interest as the beneficiary. So now that's the capacity that you're holding in the court. You serve them privately as the executor, meaning you executed the court. That means that you made the court. You know what I'm saying? You form court now by serving them privately. You know what I'm saying? When you petition the court, you're just under their public jurisdiction. But when you serve them privately, you create the jurisdiction from your private capacity. You understand? Then when you have to swing past the gavel, swing past the door or step onto their ship, you already sent them prior notice of your private capacity, and they cannot take any jurisdiction as inventory or some kind of property that they're going to receive as a good. Because when you step in there as a straw man, they just saying, oh, you just delivered yourself to our dock. And when they give you that fake title of, oh, okay, well, you can be your own attorney. You can represent yourself. You can have the power of attorney. They try to make you feel special. No, all you did was take on the title of the public trustee, and then you just handed over the trustee to them, handed over the straw man to them, and relinquish any benefits you would have gotten had you came in your private capacity, and then appointed the judge as the public trustee to protect your benefit as the beneficiary. That's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? I can reiterate this 1,000 more times, but watch the video, rewind it, and go back over it. So that just shows you how to control that straw man and put it in its proper capacity so it doesn't get manipulated in the public. All right? So on that note, y'all, I'll say peace. There's been another session, you know what I mean? And we're going to come back and we're going to keep on doing this. If y'all need some services, hit me up. And you can get some services. But if you want to just listen to the videos and get the feel good information, and you just want to feel good, like, yo, Masiah is deep. Yo, he's real deep. He could do this. He said he could do that. Da, 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 da. No, you can learn how to do it yourself too and actually do it. Or you could just, you know, I don't want people to idol worship me. You could just get caught up in my information, idolize me, and be like, oh, hey, he's the man. He good. No. Take the information for yourself and use it for yourself. That's my goal. After knowledge comes wisdom. After wisdom comes understanding. After understanding comes culture, meaning you take the knowledge and wisdom you have, you understand it, and then you start applying it to your life, your culture, your everyday life. After that comes power. You'll begin to empower yourself. You'll feel empowered by exercising this on a daily basis. And then now when you feel empowered and you can exercise that power, now you'll start to see how you have some equality in the society, because now people ain't going to treat you how they used to treat you anymore. They're going to treat you a little bit differently now because they're like, oh, this guy, oh, he knows what's up. We can't deal with him the way we deal with the rest of the slaves. He's enlightened. He knows what's going on. And he carries himself every day with cultural pride and power, rather I say power, cultural power. You know what I mean? So we got to respect him and show him some equality. You know what I'm saying? And the more they try to resist against you, don't mean that you got to show them the angry black man. You just show them the intelligent, original man. And then just keep getting more powerful with your intelligence. And then eventually they have to bow down. They have to. The lie cannot stand against truth. So this is why you got to remain poised, remain intelligent, remain wise in how you present yourself, and execute it properly so it get done. They'll never let them push you to the point where they see the angry black man come at you. Always be the intelligent, wise, original man that you are and execute in that manner. Peace.